Hey everyone, and welcome to episode 11, where we'll be exploring the concept of transcendence. We're going to define what transcendence is, I'll talk about how to embody transcendence in different circumstances, and I'll also talk about some of the advantages and the limitations of transcendence. So with that said, grab your green tea and let's get started. So when you think of the word transcendence, what are some of the things that come to mind? I know that I really like to relate this concept to science, specifically the law of conservation of energy, which states that energy is neither created or destroyed, it's only converted from one form to another. And what we can actually do is we can take this concept and relate it directly to transcendence, because on an energetic standpoint, what you do when you transcend is you go from a low frequency vibration to a higher frequency vibration. And as human beings, we're actually electromagnetic beings, which means that we're made up of a bunch of atoms, right? And if we zoom into one specific atom, what we have is a nucleus, and then we have different orbitals around it. And it takes an energy input or an energy output for an electron to go from one energy level to another, right? So if you think about this in relation to transcending, what you're doing is you're going from a lower energy orbital to a higher energy orbital. And if you do the opposite, what happens is that you actually release heat, right? So if you don't transcend, what you're doing is you're not using your energy very effectively or efficiently. But if you're transcending, there's not a lot of heat that gets released, so therefore it's an effective way of converting your energy. And the reason I like to explain transcendence using energy is because it just gives us a sense of how everything is just actually really interconnected, right? And it even gives us a sense of how we use this word energy a lot, but there's a deeper meaning behind it, right? And on a more tangible level, I would say that transcendence is the ability for you to shift your beliefs such that it is in service of both yourself and your surroundings. And I say your surroundings as well because when you transcend something, you're not only benefiting yourself, you're actually raising the vibration of your surroundings as well. And this concept of transcendence really hit home for me when I was thinking about the way I put content out for my audience as well. So it takes me a lot of time and effort to put content out for my audience and have them resonate with it. And the content that I put out is actually unique to my own perspectives and my own experiences, right? Yet I see so many people ranging from institutions to corporations to just different social media platforms as well that just take my content and either copy it completely, partially, or they even just implement things that I say on my podcast without actually giving me the credit for it. And in the beginning, when I was witnessing all of this, I was actually quite resentful, right? Because it's fair that I get credit for what I put out there, but they just refuse to give it to me. What I also realized was that being resentful wasn't actually serving me in any way, shape, or form. It was just me wasting a lot of my energy. So I thought about it and I was like, okay, well, how do I transcend this experience and these emotions that I'm feeling? And so I came up with 3 different things specifically for this situation, but also for anybody in a similar boat to me who, has had their ideas and their concepts copied and taken away from them before. These are 3 things that I thought were super helpful to help me transcend this, okay? So number 1 is that don't let their actions turn you into who they are and their toxic behaviors, okay? Because let's face it, in the world of business, copying people and being deceiving, it's quite normal. At least it is as of now, right? But what you do when you remain in your integrity and you refuse to be like them and you always, you always give the credit where credit is due, what you're doing is you're not only showing how resilient you are, but you're actually leading by example. You're telling the world that hey, it's possible to do business and it's possible to do it with integrity, okay? Number 2, I would say that it's really important for you to affirm your presence, okay? So, yes, people are going to copy you. It's going to happen. But the thing is, even though they copy you, it's not possible for them to do it exactly like you do it. Because when you do it with authenticity. And authenticity is what's magnetic. So you only attract people when they know that, this person, yeah, she's being for real, or, she actually embodies these values outside of just her podcast and things like that. People can see through things like that. So it's important, if you're the person who's copying information, if you want to really resonate with your audience as well, it's important for you to embody those values outside of just your platform as well, okay? And number 3, this is actually something that a mentor told me a few weeks ago, and that was that if people are copying you and implementing what you're doing, then it means that you're doing something right, right? So there's no need to be so angry and resentful about it, right? And so when I went through this thought process, I was able to transcend my resentment to basically, hey, you know what? There's people out there copying my content. And although I'm not getting credit for it, what's happening is that the impact that I want to deliver is still being delivered. And it's actually just being delivered in multiple different channels, right? Because they're another channel that's delivering the information that I'm delivering. And they're actually just like the middleman. Like, it's like I'm the source of this information, they're the middleman, and the information is getting projected out to create a bigger impact, like a ripple effect. And so that's what really put me at ease with the whole resentment situation and allowed me to just transcend that emotion completely. So if we zoom out even and we just look at transcendence on a more general note, I would say that if you were ever experiencing like a low vibrational frequency or emotion, something that you want to ask yourself in order to enable transcendence is ask yourself, how is the situation or experiencing serving me for my highest good? And through that, what you'll be able to do is you'll be able to see the different perspectives and shift your belief about that experience that you're having, okay? And you know what the interesting thing about transcendence is? It's not only actually just beneficial, like, in order to get you out of a negative state or anything like that. There's actually a study that had been done a while ago that showed that people who embody self-transcendence or even a spiritual dimension, they're actually shown to have more positive workplace behaviors, including creative problem-solving abilities and pro-social behaviors at work. Which is really interesting because now you know that you're actually doing a lot more by practicing transcendence, right? And although transcendence is great, it's also important to realize that there are limitations to transcendence, and it's not good to use it for all circumstances and experiences, okay? So, for example, something that I wouldn't transcend is when your boundaries are disrespected, okay? Because that's unethical behavior and it's important to address that kind of behavior, okay? Something else that I wouldn't transcend is if there's some sort of an issue that can result in systemic change, I wouldn't just transcend a situation like that because it would result in not everybody benefiting from it, okay? Because what you want to do when there's a possibility for systemic change is you want to make sure that you bring awareness to it so that people around you can actually do something about it, okay? And I think there's a lot of things we can think about in the workplace that can result in systemic change, so just go ahead and use your imagination for that. So, with all that said, I think we can see that, transcendence is pretty amazing, and it does show you that what doesn't kill you really does make you stronger. And with that said, folks, I'll see you next time.
This program is meant for entertainment purposes only. It is not meant to replace any educational programs or represent a professional coaching program. All examples provided by the author and speaker are purely anecdotal and are not meant to represent any institutions or companies in affiliation with the creator.